getting really, really hot outside, one of your plants that does not like heat at all are peas. So mine were ready this weekend. I know a few others also had peas that were ready, so I'm going to go ahead and go through the process of what you're going to do with your peas. So when you pick them, you want to make sure that the pods are thick and fat like this. Probably one of my biggest downfalls of peas. This is my first year ever doing peas, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot here, where I planted 2 rows of 15 feet. So this is all I got. Peas are kind of funny in the fact that they have these huge plants, and then you have decent sized pods like I showed you already, and you get like 5 peas. So just one of those things to kind of remember. Some of the things that you're going to need today, obviously this is what I picked my peas in. I have another bowl that I'm going to put my actual peas in because these are just the pods. You're going to need a cookie sheet lined with parchment paper or a silicone mat, whatever you prefer, a clean dish towel, a bowl of ice water, and then we're going to boil some water as well. So I'm going to go through the process and kind of show you what you're going to do from start to finish when it goes to freezing your peas. I've always been taught to just freeze my peas. I've never canned them before, so this is what we're going to do instead. I also have a vacuum sealer. That's totally your choice if you really want one of those. You can do the same process with freezer-proof Ziploc baggies. You just put them in water and make sure you get all of the air out as much as you can. Like I said, I have a vacuum sealer. I purchased it off Amazon for like $30, I believe. So it's a nice investment for me because I also do the same thing with my meat. When I buy my meat in bulk, I split it up into 1-pound packages, and I use my freezer bags for that, my vacuum sealer for that as well. So that's just kind of your choice, but we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, now that you have your pea pods picked, to get them to shell, what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of give them a little bit of a squeeze so it opens up just like that one did. And then you're just going to pop them out and put them in your bowl. So you're going to do that for all of your peas, obviously, and that's how you shell them. Once we get them shelled, we'll go through the process. So it's kind of nice because this one you can see I have lots of actual peas inside the tube instead of just the before. There's actually 5 or 6 of them. So once you get that all finished, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, so all of my pods are shelled now. As you can see before what I said, you only get a few peas out of all of your hard work, unfortunately, when that's what happens when it comes to peas. So my plan is to go to a farmer's market or to one of the local shops and I'll probably purchase more pea pods from them and freeze them again and just go through the process like this again. So I will be buying fresh peas. This is just a stock up for us during the winter and things like that. So you're welcome to do the same thing. Now that they're all shelled, we're going to move on to the next process, which is going to be the rapid boiling part. You're just going to fill up a pan with water and bring it to a rapid boil and put your peas in there and let them boil for about 90 seconds. So make sure you set your timer for that. Okay, so they are in the bottom of my ice water, and I'm going to set my timer for 2 minutes. Once my 2 minutes is up, I'm going to drain them again, and then I'm going to place them on my towel to dry out the rest of the way, and then we're going to, this is the flash freeze part, where I'm going to put them on my cookie sheet lined with parchment paper and throw them in the freezer for 2 hours is how long they're going to sit in there. Sometimes you might have to reach in and remove some of the clumps if they have clumps or things like that. And then once they're done, that's when we will go through the process of putting them in your vacuum sealed bags. Like I said before, I have a vacuum sealer that I purchased off Amazon, but you can also use just regular sealable freezer bags. You just need to make sure that you get as much air out as possible. There are some tricks to that. One of them is to fill your sink full of water and then place it down the side. The water will kind of force all of that air out and you can seal it. The other way is to take a straw and seal up your bag except for the one little piece. Put your straw in there and kind of suck the air out and then close it at the same time, just kind of creating your own kind of vacuum seal without having to use a vacuum sealer. So I will show you guys what I do with my vacuum sealer, and after that you're ready to go and put them in the freezer. And you can store them in your freezer for about 6 months unless you have a deep freeze. If you're going to put them in the deep freeze, then you can store them for about up to a year. So that's just kind of your choice. Okay, so mine are done being in the ice water. I went ahead and drained them again, and now I just have them sitting on my towel. I'm just going to have them dry just a little bit. This is going to prevent some of the clumping that I talked about earlier. Once I have them kind of dried off a little bit, I will go ahead and put them on my baking sheet and flash freeze them in the freezer for 2 hours. Once they're all finished, we'll go through the process. Once they're kind of dried off a little bit, that's when I'll go ahead and add them to my baking sheet and throw them in the freezer. Okay, so this whole process is the blanching and freezing. So this is the exact same thing that you would do for cauliflower or broccoli or green beans. So you've seen most of the process. You're going to shell your peas first, and then you're going to boil them in a rolling boil for exactly 1.5 minutes. When you're finished with that, then you're going to put them directly into an ice bowl, a bowl of ice water. They'll sit in there for 2 minutes. Then you're going to drain them again. Place them on a towel to dry. You want the moisture to be down as much as possible when it comes to that, so you don't want them to be soaking wet. Then you're going to line a cookie sheet with parchment paper or a silicone mat. Place your peas on there, and you're going to flash freeze them, which means you're going to put them directly on the cookie sheet, put them in the freezer for 2 hours. Once your 2 hours is up, you're to this stage. So I went ahead and am using my vacuum sealer like I said before. These are my pre-cut, or I have a roll of the vacuum sealing bags. I just cut it and then I can seal one end of it. I went ahead and labeled mine. I believe everyone should label what they're doing. Even though this is not that whole lot of peas, we're obviously not going to freeze a bunch of these, but at least I know where they came from, the year and everything else. So as we move forward and we start canning or start freezing all of our other things, we want to make sure that everything's labeled. So I went ahead and labeled them for peas June of 21. So I'm going to place my peas in my bag. Okay, now I am to this stage. As you can see, this is my vacuum sealer. So I've got my peas in here. Vacuum sealers are kind of different depending on which one you have. Obviously this is mine. So what you're going to do is lift the top off. You can see that there's a hot bar here. That's where you're going to place the edge. So as long as you're in this little area, you can seal it off completely. So mine works like this. It's all in there. My peas are labeled. I'm going to snap until I hear 2 clicks. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and do vac seal. That's what I want to do. So right here. Once I do that, I have to click seal again. And my peas should be vacuum sealed. And they are. So that's kind of the process for peas. It's going to be the same way with cauliflower, broccoli, green beans, if you decide to freeze that way. If you decide to can some of those, obviously you're going to have to try and find some videos on that as well. I will not be canning any of those things. I will be freezing, just so you are aware of what's going on. So hopefully you don't have any questions for this, but if you do, you can always get a hold of us. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time, and I hope your gardens are doing as well as mine are. It's definitely lettuce season too, so if you have planted lettuce, you might want to check that. It's probably ready for harvest as well. I planted romaine from seeds, and I have lots of lettuce right now, so just a reminder that that could be ready. If you are interested, I can show a video on how you harvest your lettuce. That is a pretty easy thing to do, but I can show you how to do it. Obviously, you're not going to freeze lettuce or anything like that, so it's kind of a here you have it now, so go ahead and use it type of thing. So if you have any questions, make sure that you let us know, and we will see you next time.